that the grandmothers teach the grandchildren a Sanskrit shloka or a prayer to be said just before eating, for instance, or just before studying. Well, this practice has its roots in a philosophy of ancient India called Purva Mimansa. So Purva Mimansa was a philosophy whose founder was Jaimini, Rishi Jaimini, who was a student of the great Muni Vedvyasa. Vedvyasa, as we know, was the founder of the Vedanta philosophy, and Vedanta says that if one is really quiet, one intuitively knows through the Sukshma Buddhi or the intuitive intelligence all the teachings of Vedanta regarding Brahma and Avidya and all the rest of the teachings. But probably Jaimini, Rishi Jaimini, thought that this is not really accessible to a lay spiritual person, because everyone is not able to silence their mind and intuit the teachings of Vedanta. So he probably gave to the world a school of philosophy which was more easy to access for a common man. His philosophy, Purva Mimansa, finds a way through words rather than silence to reach your goal. The goal in ancient India was self-realization. And since everyone is not able to silence their minds and realize themselves, Rishi Jaimini studied the first part of the Vedas, which are the Brahmanas, which are full of mantras and rituals that can be performed. And because it's a study of the first part of the Vedas, it's called Purva or earlier Mimansa. Whereas Vedanta is called Uttar Mimansa or the later Mimansa, because it's a study of the later part of the Vedas, the Upanishads and the Aranyakas. Now, although chronologically the date for Vedanta is 700 BC and Purva Mimansa is 200 BC, and since it's before Christ, 200 BC is after 700 BC. So although it's after in terms of time, it's after Vedanta, but because it was a study of the earlier part of the Vedas, it's called the Purva Mimansa or the earlier Mimansa, and Vedanta is Uttar Mimansa or the later Mimansa. Now, what are the teachings of Purva Mimansa? Well, the first teaching is the importance of word, the Shabda. So the mantras from the Brahmanas which could accompany every activity of life. For example, when one decides to make breakfast as an offering to the gastric fire and service of the divine being within, then the whole process is transformed. Or the mantra for the ritual of cleaning rice could be, who can separate dirt or pebbles from rice but the almighty discriminating agency that God is. So when I teach Purva Mimansa, I give the children a project to create their own mantras, whether it's in English or their mother tongue, which they will articulate before specific activities like before having their breakfast, before sleeping, before studying, because they say a work well begun is half done. What a beautiful way to start something by putting the right energy affirmation before it. So for example, before studying, a simple affirmation like, I will do my best and the universe will do the rest, can be so encouraging. Or before sleeping, a prayer like, may I sleep with complete peace and calm, with not too many dreams. May I wake up refreshed and energetic and have a beautiful day ahead. Something as simple as that. Or before eating, if you have a great love for animals, say, you could say that as I have each morsel of food, may it feed the hungry animals everywhere. Of course, your mind will say, but it's not going to happen. But the point is, in the very act of articulating that prayer, you're connecting with the energy of the animals, and the act of articulating the prayer changes you. It reminds you of the whole beyond who you really are, and maybe you'll eat food more mindfully, with more consciousness of all that has gone into making the food. So you can be creative and create your own mantras for different activities and use them. Then you'll be drawing from the Purva Mimansa school of philosophy. So Purva Mimansa says that the mantra or the shabda is very important. It also laid great emphasis on the rituals in the Brahmanas and proper articulation of how they are to be performed and the meaning behind them. Since it's an orthodox school of philosophy, according to Purva Mimansa, the Vedas are infallible, and it totally depends on the Vedas to cull out its own essence. Purva Mimansa also talks about karma and goes into great details of how an action done now has repercussions up to sometimes 100 lifetimes. Purva Mimansa believed in many gods and goddesses, and it also gives us the concept of divinity or Brahma within all non-living objects. So these 5 tenets of Purva Mimansa, it's beautiful to use a mnemonic to remember them. The first tenet is the Vedas are infallible, so the word very. Second, it considers Shabda or the word as very important, so to remember Shabda, sweet. The third tenet is about rituals, so you say Ritu, so very sweet Ritu. The fourth tenet is about karma, or karma is action, so acts. The fifth tenet is about many gods and goddesses, so godly, and the concept of divinity within objects, so that's divine. So your whole mnemonic will read, very sweet Ritu, acts godly and divine. So Purva Mimansa has a great bearing on our lives even to this day if we use it in the right way. Namaste.